welcome you all to this Car Padikar 2021 and welcome to Hospit and I thank Dr. Ashok Tata sir, Amresh Patel, David J and our local IT president Dr. Patel, Sarvesh and other groups. And this is very unique terminology being used. Much talk, less unexplored. Not much work. Work has been done, but in terms of medicine, not work. And very much needed in this present era. So to discuss on this terminology, special terminology, that is on spirituality, I introduce my other panelist. That is Dr. Shashidhar in the Spiritual Center's scientist and runs the Center of Spiritual Society as a center in Bangalore. And welcome to Dr. Shashidhar. Dr. Geeta Patil madam, you all know her, she is the central executive member and she does the erotic yoga and she is the doctor yoga. There is a lot of social work, especially in women empowering and girl children. Another spiritual master and our local IIT president, my close friend, and who is into deep meditation and the professor and data. Welcome you all and welcome all the delegates and customers and all the seniors. Thank you all. Yatish Puja, our Guru Mahagurudu, Dr. Yatish Puja is the adolescent scientist and you should know what he has dedicated himself to the adolescent spirituality, adolescent health and adolescent health. Welcome to Dr. Yatish. WHO says the definition of health is physical, mental and spiritual. But he never ultimately
WHO says the definition of health is physical, mental and spiritual. But we never heard or read or studied on spiritual health. Am I right? All the speakers will agree with me. Over a period of time, we understood what is the relevance of spiritual health, that in the present pandemic, and what are the crises, globalization and industrialization, urbanization. We are also exposed to a lot of stress and other things. So this is the need of our, we should know something on spirituality, and thanks to organizers for choosing this unique subject. After knowing this, we understood about the spiritual and the social well-being is the part of WHO health. Do spirituality and medicine goes together? Yes. See that IMA has accepted few symbols that is from the spirituality. What is that? What is the vertical column being shown is our spinal column. That is being represented as Kundalini or chakras. In the English it is called as vortex. On the side, serpentines are called as Ida Pingala. That shows that the ingrowing or the growing the energy within us. So we should explore the energy within us and we should manifest ourselves. That is the symbol has been adopted, but we have not learned that. I also learned recently. So definitely do spirituality and medicine very well go together. But Buddha has said, without any scientific evidence, don't accept anything. Yes, he said, we just tell something on pranayama and other things. For him to understand about whatever the Anuloma Viloma, it took 8 years he has mentioned in his Jataka Pustakamalu. So we should know the sun signs behind this spirituality. Let us see some facts. There is always a relationship between spirituality, health related behavior and psychological well-being being depicted in one of the period journal. They concluded that spirituality has a stronger relationship with psychosocial well-being. That is being accepted. Another study shows that, what is that? Spirituality of children, especially in chronic condition, shows that their health measures or the healthcare outcomes are better than any other randomized control studies. Those are intervened with spirituality. The outcome measures or quality questionnaires were very good with those patients. As well as about parenting program, the effectiveness of mindful parenting programs in promoting parents and children well-being. There was a systemic review shows that while that reduces definitely nowadays parents are in lot of stress, globalization, the double income, more worries, nuclear families, they are under a lot of stress. So this study has shown mindful parenting reduces the parent stress and better child outcome. And out of a systemic condition, a lot of studies are there. It improves the systemic condition. Many studies are there, especially that when they have done a lot of studies in systemic blood pressures and other lifestyle diseases that has shown very good control of blood pressure. Dr. Shashidhar was telling he has subjected one of the patient for just amyloid, where his hypertension was 180 to 100, it has reached to 100 by 70, if I am correct. Only we were saying, of course, been good. Those who are asking doing pranayama, you can just ask him, their pressure will come down. Even if you take any sadhaks or athletes, their heart rate will be around 40 to 50. That is the level they reach. So if those are mindful can improve our heart function or other systemic condition also. And once again, yoga and mindfulness could be clinically valuable in administrative as an intervention for rehabilitation in stroke and other chronic serious disorders. We understood some science, that is science beyond science. Okay, so I would like to ask the panelists about few things. What is spirituality, Dr. Shashidhar?
Good morning to all. At the outset, I like to thank CAR Pedicon organizing team, IAP Karnataka, IAP Vijayanagar. Thank you very much for giving this small opportunity. What is spirituality? Living with the path of truth is spirituality. What is truth? Truth is, we are all sitting here, I am speaking. So we are all sitting here, I am also speaking. So this is what we call it as the peripheral truth. So in the present, what we are experiencing is only the peripheral truth. If you go deep inside, in Dr. Rajkumar, if I see, go inside, it's cells. It's made up of, cells, nucleus, DNA, RNA, molecules, then atomic stuff. Not only you, the table, myself, laptop, everything in the whole existence is made up of the atoms, which we know well. So this atomic stuff is the inner present. So the surface reality is what we experience, but inside there is something which is universal, like because it is the center is same in the table, in myself, in everything. So what we call it is inner present or source reality. Because from there, because without atoms, nothing can be seen. So the present has periphery and center. Periphery, what we experience, center is atomic stuff, which is, in our quantum physics, we call it as quantum field, or in our ancient sages used to call it as Isha. Isha Vyasa Midam Sarvam. Everything. They used to call it as Sarvesha, Sarva. In all these things, the Sha, Isha is there. That lying, Sha means something which is lying, the source for the outside. So, the periphery we appreciate with form. The chair has a form, the camera has a form, we have a form, but the center is Nirakar or no form. The outside, what we see, experience, we call it as Prakriti. But what we inside Prakriti, what we call it as Isha or Purusha. It's a Shah which is the Pura, the town of that Shah. So that is why it is called as Rupesha. Rupa is outside, Shah is inside. So in the present itself, we have Rupa plus Isha, Rupesha. So like that, even not only our Hinduism has even Christ consciousness, they call that center, the center present. Allah, Allah means usually it's a Nirakar and no shape and form. So, not only in our ancient spiritual teaching, in all the religions also the essence is same. See, for a simple way to understand the present is Sarvesha. In all these things that Isha is there. Srinivasa, Shri is outside, Nivasa is inside. Lokesha, Loka is outside, Sha is inside. Lokesha. Like that, Umesha, Suresha, all these things represents outer present and inner present. The present is the wholeness. What is the spirituality means? You need to be in the present. So present itself is spirituality. So present realization, you will become spiritual because you are with the spirit. Because the present itself has existence, the whole existence is a spirit. Nothing is left because Sarvesha we told. So the surface reality is what we appreciate, source reality is what is reality. The outside materialistic world, apparent truth is periphery of us, the center is universal and one. So with this understanding, we need to go ahead. Thank you.
That's what Sarva was telling about spirituality, that is center and periphery. Isha, Sarvesha, Isha is inside, that is center. The outside of materialistic world, whatever it calls, that is periphery and center. Prakriti Purusha he has mentioned. This is the spirituality terms goes with Adhyatma. But often we use one more term, that is meditation, Dhyana. So Dr. Matti, please tell me what is meditation and what are the modes of meditation, please.
So thank you, Somshekhar. Meditation, there is no fixed definition to meditation. We cannot pinpoint and say like any other definition, we cannot define meditation. But broad sense of meditation we can give. What is meditation? Meditation, it is a practice where a person uses different techniques to train attention and awareness and achieves mentally clear and emotionally calm and stable state. So this is the broad picture of meditation. So techniques could be different techniques. Technique could be, I'll explain what are the different techniques later, but techniques could be different like mindfulness or focusing the attention on particular object, like focusing on thought, activity, object or mantra, or different variety of the things. So this is broadly it's a meditation. Meditation is an experience of relaxing the body, quietening the mind and awakening the spirit. Meditation encourages a deepening consciousness or awareness and also facilitates a deeper understanding of self and others. So this is in brief about what is meditation.
That's nice. What Sir was telling about relaxing the body and igniting ourselves to the spiritual thought. It is about meditation and that is awakening of the spirit. But nowadays we use one more terminology, very popular also. That is, and recently Dr. Shashidhar also gave a talk in AHA. That is heartfulness. And very catchy word and a lot of things are there. What is heartfulness, Dr. Atish?
Good morning, everyone. I thank IAP Karnataka, IAP Vijayanagara for giving this all of us this opportunity to discuss spirituality. Heartfulness is another term for spirituality, where your heart is full of unconditional love, compassion, empathy for yourself and for others and other things in this universe is called as heartfulness. Compassion can be defined as a strong feeling of sympathy and sadness for the suffering and bad luck of others and a wish to help them. And you all know the empathy is next. Empathy is the ability to understand other people's feelings and imagine what it would be like to be in that person's situation and trying to help that person out of the suffering. All these three things will constitute heartfulness in spirituality.
So, sir was telling about it is the when we should apply the terminology empathy in a situation as well as sympathy with a compassion, that is artfulness. But we understood about spirituality, meditation and heartfulness, why we need. Do we have any benefits, either physical or mental or whatever? Because that is our study, we should, this is the need of hour, we should do something about this and explore possibility. Then, what are the physical benefits we get after doing this spirituality, Dr. Shashir?
Thank you, Dr. Somsekhar. Today, because of the COVID, even without COVID, there are, in our clinic, 90% of the children has put on 10 to 15 kg last 1.5 years after the COVID. Such a, so much is there obesity, and even otherwise in our country obesity percentage is been increasing alarmingly. So it is very important to to tackle this situation. How to tackle? By body spirituality. What is body spirituality? Heightening the spirit in you. That means the body, we need to heighten the spirit. How to heighten the spirit? You need to give a wake-up call, or we need to stroke the body. What are the methodologies? Yoga, massage, walking, all the activities of the body, bathing, any activities, play. But the intensity is we need to stroke that spirit within, because the present we have the body, in the periphery we have the body. So with that activities we are able to control our obesity. The second thing is, because of obesity and lack of letharginess, as well as because of the so many situations where we are not able to move, because of the inertia in the body has created metabolic disorders, type 2 diabetes, hypertension, cardiovascular disorder, like how our Puneet Kumar, Puneet Rajkumar, we have lost him. So we need today to prevent obesity, metabolic disorders, diabetes, hypertension and cardiovascular disorders. Thank you.
So, all the lifestyle disorders are increasing with the COVID and post-COVID status, and sudden deaths have been reported in various situations throughout the world. That is about the physical benefits. If you practice physical, whatever the spirituality, means stroking ourselves to the target so that we can control our whatever the metabolic rise of our whatever the levels and control over the disease. That is about physical benefit. What about the mental benefits we get by practicing spirituality, Dr. Atish?
Yes, definitely spirituality brings about the benefits in physical health, the mental health and the spiritual health also. So what we see is the spiritual practices, once you become spiritual, the fear of death, then the fear of failure in life, and fear of future, and fear of losing relationships, and fear of ups and downs in life, and surprises in life, and sudden changes in life, they all go away. So because of this, we have reduction of stress in our body, and then in the body there is a lot of parasympathetic drive which makes your body relax, and less of sympathetic drive so that you are not constricted and rigid. And there is a increased social interaction because of this awareness, spiritual awareness, and we develop increased coping skills, whether it is acute stress or a chronic stress or acute or chronic stress, we develop the important coping skills. And overall, you have an improved psyche. You have a positive psyche where you are happy, peaceful, and loving to everyone. And overall, this what happens is there is a decreased incidence of depression, decreased incidence of anxiety, post-traumatic stress disorders, addiction occurs with the practice of spirituality.
That's good. Sir has told about fear of death was increasing and what a losing relationship was there, and parental separation, what a sibling separation, closed family person death, everything has aggravated and lot of issues there. And he is given a scientific way. A lot of studies are there. If you go to the Google Scholar, then it increases the parasympathetic drive and decreases the sympathetic drive. That's about the physical and mental benefit we get with the practicing spirituality. But as a practicing physicians, what we are going to get, what are the professional benefits, Dr. Geeta Patil?
Thank you very much, Vijayanagar Car Pedicon, all organizing committee, especially Dr. Datar sir, Dr. Amresh, Dr. Matti, for putting on this topic in this discussion. As Dr. Yatish Pujar, Dr. Shashidhar already have elaborated about the mental and physical benefits. Now, definitely this is going to have a change, and this will be useful in all the professions, like it increases the work productivity, motivation, commitment, job satisfaction. It improves definitely well-being. We are seeing physical elements will reduce, mental elements will reduce. Hope that reduces the unnecessary absenteeism. It reduces the workplace stress, and we start looking at the things positively. We treat others well. This will definitely improve the quality of life. And the person who follows spirituality, I am very sure, will have a good leadership qualities. So this benefits both the team leader as well as team member, employee as well as employer. Now, definitely it is going to, as I told about the other professions, medical profession will have a more benefits. See, medical profession, I am very sure there are some seniors here, postgraduates here. Let me tell them, there is something beyond medicines, diagnosis, investigations to cure or give a care to the patient. And definitely spirituality, that is a non-pharmacological management, is really relevant in the present circumstances which we are seeing during the COVID pandemic. So medical profession as such is inherently spiritual. We give a holistic care. But what has happened? Medical care has moved from service and care oriented to technology and cure oriented. All of us, we agree. We have to reclaim our spiritual roots. And this spirituality combined with the scientific knowledge definitely will have a better outcome. Our country's tradition definitely tells about that. So we'll have a greater physical, psychological, emotional well-being, which is essentially required for a good doctor. We'll have a less number of lifestyle diseases, better health, we'll live longer, less stress, even during difficult time. We'll have a superior ability to handle the stress. We'll have less number of mental health disorders. There are many doctors going to depression because of various reasons. And we will have a non-judgmental attitude, which helps in the communication as well as counseling. It increases our tolerance, and which is required for us in the present. The parents coming to us, seeing a Google and then come to us, that time sometimes we become intolerant. It will bring more ethics and empathy, selfless service in our profession. It improves the life skills like what I mentioned, interpersonal relations, communication. We'll experience more compassion. It improves the quality care of the patients and reduces the incidence of burnt out syndrome. All of you will agree about that. I think may reduce some litigations against doctors, because many times these litigations are mainly because of miscommunication and misunderstanding. So what is the benefit? We are all pediatricians here. We should see how it benefits in our. See, we will develop all those skills which are required to become a good doctor. That is not exception in pediatric practice. And pediatric practice, I can say it is very spiritual. We have to be connected to the patient, caretakers in a better way. And if you apply this, keeping it it mind their developmental stage, life experiences, or their socio-cultural factors will be better. And definitely we will become a better healthcare provider. So spirituality in our practice should be 24/7, whether it is in the OPD, ward, intensive care, everywhere. So it is not just meditation, pranayam, yoga. Spirituality 24/7, what does it mean? Spending time with the patient, holding their hands, talking about what is important to them. Patients always value these experiences and feel better understood. The word compassion, as already empathy is taught by Dr. Yatish, we have to talk to them and then share with their pain and just not writing the prescription. And pediatrician definitely will become a better healer. It is a beneficial to patients also. Spiritual belief, if the patients caretakers are having, they can accept the facts, seriousness, complication, possibility of death in a better way. And if we fulfill their spiritual needs, it is very useful in the palliative care. And we can offer them a holistic care. By that, maybe in future we can reduce some side effect, drug doses, unnecessary use of the drugs. That is the advantage of spirituality. Thank you very much.
Just wonderfully explained about what are the benefits we get. First of all, we should be benefited before telling others. So as a pediatrician, as a medical profession, how it helps, she has explained very well, as well as to the patients, and she used one more terminology, it reduces stress as well as avoids unnecessary medical legal litigation. I am sure Dr. Rajkumar sir will accept, being in the founder chairman of medical legal cell. Thank you, sir.
You are in a medical legal thing, but with a caveat that we have to be very careful. But I know that you will say that how you say like that. But definitely our communication skill in
Communication skills, definitely, it has yesterday, Pustaka Pradhikar has done a seminar on that, and I was also part, majority we came to know the good communication skill will reduces the, what are the litigation. Wonderfully explained. But basically as a pediatrician, whether you in the medical college, as a practicing pediatrician, we come across students, maybe medical students or the adolescent children or the school going children. So we will be a teacher. It is not that we just take care of a child, just see cough and cold, write the medication. We never do that. We see their growth, we see their happiness, we ask them for their progress, whatever it is, and we encourage them for whatever the extracurricular activity. But I want to ask Dr. Matti, what are the benefits they get by practicing medicine, focusing onto the students?
So it's very well explained by my seniors about physical benefits, mental benefits, as well as professional benefits. So as a pediatrician, we handle mainly adolescents, teenagers, so who require this kind of counseling. So these are the people, these are a set of people who benefit most from this spirituality or meditation. So what are the benefits of meditation in students? Particularly when I say students, it's mainly teenagers or adolescents. So let's see what are the different advantages to this. When you do meditation, if you do meditation for 1 or 2 days, you will not get any benefit. If you do it for a longer time, there is no specified time, it's longer time, it's a sadhana. Like as sir said, it's a sadhana, it's an ongoing process. So if you do it for a longer time, the benefits are imminent. So the benefits could be, it increases the intelligence quotient in children or in adolescents. So it increases the intelligence, it increases the creativity of a student, and it increases the grasping power of a student. So next is, it lowers the stress level in students. It increases the concentration while studying, and decreases the exam stress. Mainly the students are worried about exams. They are stressed about exams. So it decreases the exam stress. And usually these teenage children or adolescent children, they are very much prone for depression because of various reasons. So the people who constantly meditate can get over the depression. They get a mind controlling capacity. Their confidence level will definitely go very high. Previous. Next advantage is, it's overcoming a bad habit. So usually because of peer pressure, the adolescents or teenagers, they fall in bad company and they develop bad habits. But if a student is constantly meditating, his mind power is so strong that he develops a confidence to say no to the bad habits. Then the confidence level definitely will go high. The public speaking skills will increase, and he can face any challenges. Next advantage is the children who constantly meditate, they'll be very happy. They are cheerful, they are outspoken, they can deal with the peer pressure, whatever it is. Their efficiency increases, brain capacity increases, decision making capacity is very good in children who are constantly practicing meditation. Adjustability, the children who constantly meditate, they appreciate life and people. They learn to forgive and ask for forgiveness. They will accept the mistakes if they have done, and they the constant meditation can give protection from illness, physical illness, mental illness, all those illness. Apart from that, there is a new science called as epigenetics. You can even change the gene presentation, constantly modifying the environment. You can change the gene manifestation. So by constantly meditating, you can change even genetic disorders. Then lastly, avoiding negative thoughts. The children who constantly meditate, they are very optimistic. They learn how to avoid negative thoughts. These are the benefits in students, Dr. Somashekar. Thank you.
That's nice. One good thing, whenever you call him, Dr. Mati, any hour, in the midnight, 3 o'clock you call him, it's the same pleasant voice he speaks. Ending. But uncomfortable. It comes because of he practices the meditation. He's into deep meditation. He said few terminology. Don't say yes when you want to say no. Very important. That's what we are saying with a lot of the adolescent issues. We see that they accept yes and they land up with all the issues or abuse or whatever it is facing and end up with problems. And another terminology uses forgiveness and asking for forgiveness. Or forget it or forgiveness. And that all leads to finally that happiness, efficiency, adjustability and protection from illness increases, and it definitely increases the optimistic level. And use the word, we can change the genetic disorder. He said, if you go through the literature, if you will be wondering how can you use this terminology in a big forum like this. Lot of studies have been done, especially genetic morphology or changing the genetic disorder. Many scientists, spiritual scientists are doing. You can go through that. I will not go to the website or claiming that, because that becomes a different forum altogether. In this pandemic, we saw some situation, families are devastated, lot of death in the family. You ask anybody, call anybody, and what the picture we are seeing and what their experience is totally different. And economical issues, poverty and other things, it has led to the in the parental separation. Children are lost their parents. And it's going on still that we are seeing the post-act take some more years. In this situation, how this practicing spirituality helps the family to overcome this stress, as well as how to practice this spirituality in the pandemic, Dr. Saitish.
Yeah, it's a very nice thing. In a pandemic, we had suffered a lot, families had suffered a lot. They had a lot of acute stress, like a death of a loved one. They had a lot of chronic stress, poverty, loss of income. Now with the second wave, third wave, they are getting acute on chronic stress. So these spiritual practices which are practiced in the house, in the home, by all the family members, will increase the coping skills of all the family members. They will be ready to accept the situation, they will be ready to adjust to the situation, and they will be ready to progress in a positive way. So this way, the spirituality improves the empathy and forgiving nature in the family. This leads to a better parenting, where the parents are more loving and enforcing discipline. There is a decreased domestic violence with the practice of spirituality. We had seen in the pandemic there was a lot of domestic violence and decreased addictions in the family because of the spiritual practice, and there is an improved mental health of the family members. And by practicing spirituality, they want to do something to the society. They want to give service to the others. And ultimately, the good moral values and culture is maintained in the family. These are the ultimate benefits of spirituality for the family in any situation.
If I extend the question further, this practice, how it has helped in this pandemic? A lot of issues are there.
Correct. Pandemic taught us that life is very unpredictable. And when you understand spirituality, you understand the rules of life. The rules of life are, life is unfair. Somebody is born in a poor house, somebody is born in a rich house, somebody is born in India, somebody is born in Africa. Okay? And life has definite beginning and end. Everybody who is going to born is going to die. And life has got definitely ups and downs. And life is uncertain and can throw sudden challenges like a pandemic. Like I said before, spirituality helps us to accept the situation, adjust to the situation, and advancing further in a positive direction. This helps us to cope up with the stresses produced by the pandemic or any other disaster which may come in a family's way or in our way.
So let's explain how the family will get benefited and use the word 3A. One is that is acceptance, adjustment and advancing further in a positive direction is the spiritual mantra that helps to cope with the stress and produced by the pandemic or any other disaster which we are going to expect. This should be a mantra so that it is a situation in life that adjust with that life and try to move forward whatever the limited facilities or limited terms we have got in our society. That's about the practice, about the communal crisis and pandemic. But very sad to say that in this COVID, 24,000 adolescent children have committed suicide. It is much more than the pandemic as such. Lot of things are happening, depression, anxiety, but suicide and death is the one anybody cannot bear with that. And we are doing from Adolescent Academy and other forums, we are doing a lot of training to the teachers, the parents, everything. And it is, of course, is a tip of iceberg what we reached there. And as well as being in the executive committee board member, I request Dr. Geeta Patil not only to speak and also commit to this, whatever the education we are doing, to do in the local languages so that it reaches. Because we are doing in English, but it should be in the local language. And she has done a lot of work and she is taking care of a lot of adolescent girls in an ashram also. I also go sometime. And madam, please tell about the suicide.
Thank you very much. I am back to again telling the applied knowledge of spirituality in our practice. As already Dr. Somsekhar told, 24,000 children from the 14 to 18 years died by suicide from 2017 to 19. Imagine how many will be there in the pandemic. Already Dr. Yatesh Pujar has explained, the pandemic has led to second pandemic of the mental health disorders. And this is a reliable data, and the recent data we have not still got it. So incidence of depression and anxiety is definitely increasing. It has doubled. The incidence is variable depending on which group you select. But definitely it goes on increasing as the age increases. 50% of the mental health disorders manifest by the age of 14 years. Please remember, 30 to 35% of the adolescents who are depressed attempt suicide. And many depressed adults may be depressed in the adolescent age group. And as he told, suicide is a leading cause of mortality in India. Every hour, one student commits suicide. Maximum incidence, as I mentioned, 15 to 29 years. Males complete the suicide because of few reasons. The rate of suicide has definitely increased. Every suicide, there are 20 failed attempts and countless suicidal thoughts. There are various ways they attempt suicide. There are many risk factors. Now, why we need a spirituality here? See, despite great advances in the psychopharmacology, psychotherapy of mental health disorders, suicide still persists as a major cause of mortality. But everywhere we have to know the risk factors. I am not going to go into detail. They may be on the personal level, family, society, school. Many reasons are there, or maybe inherently genetically. And spirituality can work as one of the protective factor. We know the protective factors like family connectedness, school connectedness, like that type of thing. And why it is easy for the adolescent to learn, and that is the one neurodevelopment of the adolescent. I think morning Dr. Preeti madam has talked. Despite great neurodevelopment is not complete in the adolescent. They can be trained and restructured their brain. Synapses can grow so that they can learn the spirituality in a better way. And this habit continues in the adult age group also. But yoga and meditation, sometimes it doesn't appeal the adolescents, so we have to formulate in a way which appeals them. Dr. Sobchekar has done a lot of work in that, how to teach them, all these things in a logical, scientific, rational way. And in Dr. Shashidhar's words, I can tell they will start living in present, concentrate on the center. And there is a very good book written by him, Scientific Spiritual Ways to Manage the Teenagers. It is written by him only, and beautiful ways he has described about how to tackle these problems. And suicidal ideation, as doctor, we have to know the medical legal things. There is a caveat. Suicidal ideation is emergency. You can't use a spiritual ways during the acute phase. Immediately you have to refer to the psychiatrist. Otherwise, we will lose them. It may not be helpful during the acute condition, but helps to reduce the severity or manage the mild depression and decrease the suicidal ideation. And it works as a major catalyst. What are the advantages? Definitely it is already explained. It balances both sides of the brain, improves emotional quotient, develop positive coping mechanism. Always we adolescent specialists talk about the positive coping mechanism, developing good life skills, relaxation technique. Spirituality definitely dilutes the feeling of hopelessness, and we will be being in the present and in the center. We can accept the things which we cannot change, avoid the stressor, learn to say no, alter the situation, and we will have a being the nature is one very important thing. So prime importance should be given by all of us, caretakers, stakeholders, to raise the spiritual child and a happy teenager. Thank you. I think I have tried my level best.
It's a very important topic. Madam, like 24,000 in last pandemic, adolescent children are committed suicide, and she said the one more statistics, every hour one child commits suicide. Is it really alarming and worrying also? Because their brain will be growing, thoughtfulness are not completed, so they commit to suicide. So what I suggest is, like any child comes to you with adolescent, maybe for vaccination, maybe a neighbor comes to talk to you, or whatever it is, just speak to them. Just speak to them, say one hello, just put your hand, just hug them, just say hello, express your love, happiness, more than enough. And one more thing she said is, practicing spirituality helps in prevention of this suicide. But if there is a suicidal ideation, never attempt for spirituality program, it doesn't help. Please, she's got a caveat, she said, immediately refer the patient to not the counselor or an adolescent specialist, to a psychiatrist, because they require the urgent medications. Later you start them with what are the counseling, meditation, spirituality, but in urgent ideation is there, please teach them to go to the physician, and you accompany them for the psychiatrist, and now way in the rehabilitation starts spirituality. That's wonderfully explained by Dr. Geeta Patil about suicidal ideation. But nowadays what every parent comes to us, when I speak to an adolescent girl or boy, ಫೋಟೋ ಮಾಡ್ತೀರಾ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ ಹೋಗಮ್ಮ ಕಾಲೇಜ್ ಹೋಗಲ್ಲ ಇವತ್ತು ಹೋಗಲ್ಲ ಆನ್ಲೈನ್ ಮಾಡಲ್ಲ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಆ ಮೊಬೈಲ್ ಆಗಲ್ಲ ಬಿಡು. And for everything, even a simple expression, they express in their own anger mode. It is there, I think we are all experiencing it. So how to overcome this anger? Because you should expect, because always with a pleasant smile will be there, Dr. Shishita.
Thank you, Dr. Somsekhar. Actually, the reality is the present. In the present, the center is there, periphery is there. In the periphery, whatever we are experiencing, whole universe exists. In that universe, body is there, mind and emotions are there, ecosystem is there. So three tools: body, mind and emotions, and ecosystem. These tools in the present, you can use it favorably by love, compassion, heartfulness, so many things, or you can use it for anger, hatredness, cruelty. It depends. Practical application of spirituality is to use it in a favorable way. Anger is something which we have received from evolutions through the reptilian brain. Everybody knows about it. Anger is a survival emotional energy to be used for constructive ways. What are the constructive ways? For example, Ambedkar has used for untouchability. Gandhiji has used anger against the British. Basaveshwara has used the anger against the casteism. See, anger can be constructive or destructive. It depends on the degree of anger. See, anger management, we can do it just by being in the silence, or what we call it a spiritual journey, where you are in the outer present, just closing your eyes, the right brain will take off, it soothes you, intuitions will come, your anger will disappear, gradually it will go to delta stage where there is no anger exists. So it is very, very important to practice spirituality to control this anger. So we need to recognize the anger as a peripheral tool. We need to understand the anger as a peripheral tool. We need to regulate depending on the situation. We can use it constructively if at all, if it is being used, which is given by the nature. Thank you.
So what you was saying, mild anger is required. Mild anger increases the adrenal surge. But over anger increases the too much of adrenaline leads to hypertension. So better to have a mild level which is required for the body to stimulate ourselves. So morning also I left my wallet in the bus or I was searching it. He made me so cool. So that's why I got into West. That's a nice way to explain. Of course I got it. That's nice. After understanding that, but nowadays we are seeing with the parents, everybody comes to us. ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳೋದೇನ್ರಿ ಆನ್ಲೈನಲ್ಲೂ ಕೂತ್ಕೊಳ್ಳಲ್ಲ ಆಫ್ಲೈನ್ಗೂ ಹೋಗಂಗಿಲ್ಲ ಕಾನ್ಸಂಟ್ರೇಷನ್ ಇಲ್ಲ and they get distracted to everything. The spirituality, is it helpful in this distraction or to improve concentration?
Definitely, this world is full of distractions now. After this internet and technology, most of us, being medical students or doctors or parents or children, they are all attracted towards this technology. Plus, along with this, there are the other olden days distractions like money, sex, then power. These are the distractions which are attracting us and trying to gain our attention. But the practice of spirituality can help us to overcome these distractions. Spirituality practices like prayer or meditation helps us to focus and decrease the number of thoughts and decrease the number of attractions towards us. These practice also helps us to prioritize our duties towards self, towards the family and towards the society as a whole. They also help us to gain clarity on many complex issues like who am I? Why does the death occur? Is there any rebirth? How is the reconstruction occurring in this world? All these complex questions get answered by practicing spirituality, and they help us to gain self-control, the grit, the determination and the delayed gratification which are developed due to spiritual practice will help us to prevent these distractions. So definitely it is useful for all the doctors and all the community as a whole.
So you said definitely practicing increases the concentration, avoids the distraction. Now all of you said about a lot of things about meditation, spirituality, mindfulness and the physical, mental benefit. but you all should tell us what we should practice. As a common pediatrician, we are a physician, we should know. Tell me some methods you practice and what to adopt.
Yes, definitely. What happens is whenever we talk of spirituality to any youngster, they say spirituality is not for me. It is for those people who are above 60. It is not like that. Actually, spirituality doesn't mean that you have to go to a forest, you have to leave all your family members. It is not like that. Spirituality can be practiced with subtle ways, in a smaller ways also. Like reading a spirituality book, that can help you, and doing a satsanga, being with spiritual people and listening to spiritual things. What we are discussing today is some things about spirituality that can help you to practice spirituality or learn about spirituality. Yoga and pranayama are the olden days of practicing spirituality. Meditation is one of the ways where you focus on one thing, and less talking and more listening and being in silence also is one method of practicing spirituality. Chanting a mantra or doing prayers in the morning, afternoon, evening, that also helps you to become more spiritual. Interacting with nature, you go to Hampi, you go to Sandur, you go to the forest area, all these will help you to be with the nature and practice spirituality. Having a plant-based diet make you less aggressive and you will become more spiritual. Developing few qualities will help us to be spiritual, like compassion, being awe, being in gratitude, being in kindness, being inspired by others, and admiring the great things in life. Sacrifice, love, and calmness will help us to practice spirituality in a subtle way. You don't have to go to the forest.
So you said, being within, being whatever we are doing, enjoy the spirituality. We didn't say that you go to the forest, sit in a mona, become a sarvasanga parityagi. No. Whatever they are reading the book, go to the speaking to your friend, appreciating their birthday, go to the holy places, that itself is a spirituality. But have a presence of mind. You be present there, that is important, that is a spirituality. After understanding that, Dr. Mati, please tell about tips for meditation.
Thank you, Somsekhar. So, as Dr. Yatish Pujar sir said, meditation is a method of spirituality. It's one of the form of spirituality. So that can be practiced over a period of time constantly. So that will bring about a lot of changes. Let's see what are the different methods in which we can practice meditation. So broadly we can divide them into focused or concentrative methods. Or the second one is open monitoring or mindfulness method. Third is mixed, which uses both the methods. So example for focused or concentrative methods could be paying attention to the breath, feelings, poem, mantra, etc. Open monitoring of or mindfulness. It's mindfulness or awareness state. Mixed method, for example, Vipassana, Samatha, they use mixed method where you concentrate on particular subject, particular thing. Also, you are aware of the you are in an awareness state. So let's see how to do meditation. Meditation should be ideally done either in the morning or in the evening. So these are in ideal conditions, but it can be done at any time. Ideal duration for meditation. So what is the ideal duration of meditation? So there is no ideal duration of meditation. So minimum 20 minutes at least we should do, 15 to 20 minutes we should do in a setting. Beginners can start with 5 to 10 minutes and go on increasing the duration just to cultivate the habit of meditating. Roughly, just to say, in children, when you want to say, we want to convey to the child or adolescent teenager how much time he requires. Roughly, it is equal to his age. Suppose the child is 15 years old, you can ask him to do meditation for 15 minutes. Then what posture we should use for doing meditation? So different in ideal conditions, different methods or different postures can be used, like Vajrasana, Padmasana, all those different asanas can be used. But routinely, whichever posture is convenient for you, you can use it. And you can choose any technique. There are hundreds and thousands of techniques. You can choose any of them. For beginners, you can try few of the techniques and find out in which you are comfortable. And you can choose that method only, and that method which is convenient for you. And there is no maximum duration. There are examples of sadhus. They are doing meditation for hours together, days together, and years together. Previously, we have seen in Puranas all those stories we have heard, like years together they did meditation. So there is no need of doing so much of meditation. You can, maximum duration for our level could be only 1 hour maximum, or depending on your convenience, depending on your capability, you can select the time for which you want to do meditation. And while doing meditation, there should not be any disturbance. The most important thing is mobile phone, which is always disturbing us. So keep the mobile phone away or switched off condition, and close your eyes and concentrate on breathing. And once you close your eye, concentrate on breathing and start meditating, thoughts will start coming. Usually what we do, we try to resist. Oh, this thought should not come to me because I am meditating. But that will not happen. Thoughts will be there any time of the day, any time of any state of mind, it is there. So you should accept it. Allow the thoughts to come. Let the thoughts come. Just observe the thoughts and observe the feelings associated with the thoughts. This will come with the experience. Once you start doing it for a longer time, you will learn how to observe the thoughts, how to observe the feelings. And when you do this again and again, the same thoughts, intrusive thoughts will come, and don't try to resist them. Let them come, let them be there, allow them to be there, and keep observing. So these are the simple tips to do meditation. And this is not the only way to do meditation. There are hundreds of ways to do meditation. If you ask somebody else, they will tell some other meditation, transcendental meditation, using mantra, or concentrating on the heartbeat, or concentrating on God. There are hundreds of ways of doing meditation. So don't worry about that. You find out which way is convenient for you. And whatever we have discussed till now, it is only theory of meditation. Like it is said, there is a person called Eckhart Tolle. He is a spiritual leader. He says, if I tell you about honey, you can just go on writing about honey. You can do PhD on honey, but you will not get the sense of what is honey. But if you taste one drop of honey, you will get it. Same way, meditation, if I go on telling the whole day, I can keep on telling about meditation. But it's only theory. To get the sense of meditation, you should do meditation, then only you will understand what is meditation. Thank you so much.
Excellent. He said, we always have completed what time to start, what time it should go on, everything. For 5 years, he said, 15 minutes is 15 minutes. That's all. It's a simple calculation. Because children do say that. And they also say that whenever we see somebody comes to in my mind, my classmate or that heroine or a hero, whatever it is, don't resist. Just accept it, acknowledge it, and it will go on. So that's the importance. And he said how to meditate. Thousands of meditations are there. You just follow one. Whatever it is that you just follow, that is more than enough. After understanding that meditation goes only with the mental status, and unique terminology, Dr. Seshadhar always uses the body spirituality. And this is our temple, we should keep it safe. So what is body spirituality, Dr. Seshadhar?
So what really spirituality is living with the truth. Truth is the present. In the present we have center which is just a silence. Brahma Munivera, it is just a silence within. బయలై ఉన్నదిరా, బ్రహ్మము బయలై ఉన్నదిరా. What really exists in the center is just a silence. Periphery, we have whole universe exists. In that universe, body exists. So let me, body can be a good tool. It can have a positive effect. It can have a negative effect. What is body spirituality? Just a stroking of the body, to heighten the spirit. That is what is required. But in a positive, if you take a lot of alcohol, cigarettes, smoking, all that, these are negative implications. The heightened, your body will collapse within short time. Instead of that, we need to eat fresh, healthy food, use millets so that you can avoid type 2 diabetes. Then exercise, enjoy the process of stimulation of the body, heightening the spirit or spiritual wake up of the body is body spirituality. We need to keep in mind the gut health, which as a doctors we know this is second brain. What we eat with prebiotics, prebiotics, probiotics is very, very essential for our gut health. Then coming to the yoga and pranayama, these two is very, very essential in maintaining the body. What is yoga? Yoga means union with the source. What is the source? Center is the source. So we need to mix with the source. When we unite with the center, with the periphery. So union between the periphery, which is the universe, and the center, which is 99.9999% empty space, or Isha in us, then we call it as yoga. That means oneness. This yoga is very safest exercise and it can be practiced in our profession very easily. Of course, Dr. Atish and others have already spoken about the reducing sympathetic tone, increase parasympathetic tone. So basically, we need to align and have a union, become one. That is what is required. Yoga means oneness. See, for example, there is a Bhakti Yoga. In Bhakti Yoga, there is a Bhakti component which leads to oneness. For example, Jagadisha. Jagat is periphery, center is Isha. So, in the present, peripheral truth and central truth. Together, oneness we can achieve just calling Jagadisha, Lokesha, Bhutesha. Bhuta means 5 elements: the sky, the air, the fire, then the water and earth element. So Bhuta, 5 Panchabhuta. What it contains? It contains Isha. That means today I am not speaking in the religion, I am speaking today through the quantum physics. Because all these things, like these are 5 Panchabhutas which created this existence, this what it contains. For example, this table, if I go deep into it, it's all made up of molecules. It's all made up of atoms. Inside the atom, 99.999% empty like space. That's why it is called as Bayalu. Bayalu Bayalane Bitti, Bayalu Bayalane Bedu, Bayalu Bayalaitaya, Bayale Jivana, Bayale Bhavana. This is from our Allama Prabhu, great Allama Prabhu. So, it's very, very essential to understand scientific way of yoga. The second path is through music. Nada Yoga we call it as. We can achieve oneness through music. The third is through action, Karma Yoga. When we are in the periphery, I am a speaker today, that is my role. But center, you and me are universal, it is same. So that is what we call it as action, Karma Yoga. Then truth of oneness by living with the truth, Jnana Yoga we call it as. whatever we acquire after birth, it gives a gnana. That we have to do yoga. That means we have to put into the center, we have to burn it. All our learning has to be unlearned. That we call it as gnana yagna. So that way we can reach oneness. The other one is regular Raja Yoga, which so many of them, I am not an expert in that. We know Yama, Niyama, Pranayama, Pratyahara, Dhyana, Dharana, Samadhi. That Sama Adi. Adi is that center. We need to be equal with that. That is what the Samadhi state is. That means in the present, there is a center. The outside, whatever we are seeing, is also a center because 99.999% empty like space. So basically we can achieve oneness through yoga. Thank you.
That's nice, sir was telling. Dr. Sir, please come, sir. And once again, on behalf of all the faculty and delegates for giving this unique theme for our panel discussion. Dr. Shashidhar was telling about yoga, that is, he said about Bhakti Yoga, Nada Yoga, Kriya Yoga, Karma Yoga, types of yoga. But whatever the center, he said, excellent, he expressed that it is a periphery and center, that is the Prakriti and Purusha. Well explained about the yoga. And after that, further one terminology, throughout a lot of centers is there. That is Vipassana technique. Where the beauty of Vipassana is, you go to a center, nothing will be there. Forget about mobiles, you should not even speak. So without speaking, without mobile, all your oxidants or whatever they get releases and will become whatever the free state. That is the mona. Then what is the mona or the silence, please? Without silence, please tell me.
So, power of silence. I think power of silence, Maunivrata, it is accepted in all the faiths. More so in our faith, there is a meditative silence is there. So, silence isn't empty. It's a full of answers. Silence can be the space between a feeling and a response. Take a silent pause and choose your response calmly and wisely. It gets better with practice. It is a tool to increase the emotional regulation. Please remember, this is very important to remember. How does it help? It helps to concentrate by challenging the energies. It improves the creativity, awareness, calmness, patience. Silence triggers the mindfulness and you can visualize your feelings and emotions with a better perspective and can handle challenging situations with I don't say sympathy, empathy, kindness and understanding. What are the scientific facts? Why we should have a power of silence? I don't say like Vipassana for 15 days without speaking to each other. It's very difficult, I know. But what does silence makes? Maybe as Dr. Matti sir told, how many minutes? 1 minute per age group. So that much silent is important to release the tension in the brain and body. It normalizes blood pressure, circulation in the brain. It regenerates the cells in the hippocampus. Hippocampus is very important region which deals with memory, emotion and learning. And it replenishes our cognitive functions. Very important in all the age groups. It's not for anybody who is retired to do it. Everyone. It should be introduced in our curriculum. Many schools have realized the school starts with this pause. I don't say meditation, this pause. Brain will emit, very important thing is alpha waves. They are medium speed waves. The different waves are there. Yesterday EEG was going on, EEG session, there it is already explained. Alpha is a medium waves. Why it is important? It helps to have an awakened, relaxed state. You are awake, but you are relaxed. It reduces the stress level, feel calmer, noise will increase the level of stress hormones. This is the importance. And how are we going to do? Already it is described by meditation. One more thing is, listen more, talk less. Very important for the doctors. Otherwise doctors go on talking right at the end, prescription, and nothing is heard. And begin your day with a silence. Pray. Break from social media. Don't have promo. Fear of missing out. Everybody is seeing mobile here when I was watching. I think very few people were away from mobile. They could have seen the messages little later, but not at all. Some picture is there, some message is there, we try to see. You can have a solo trip, practice yoga. Find a silent corner. That day, Dr. Somshekar was telling, any conference, anywhere go, Dr. Matti will be meditating in the silent corner.
Yes.
So, why should not we adopt like that? So, the time what we spend in silence in the morning can be a time to collect our thoughts, train our mind, and decide how we want to enter into a day. So, silence is, there is nothing stronger than the power of silence. So start your day with a silent pause. Thank you very much.
So that's the beauty. The silence can manifest. What, of course, it's a story. But what the sadhus is to achieve something, the silence there is to manifest somewhere. But if you connect, you can take it as an illusion, hallucination, whatever it is. But it is to manifest. But we don't know the silence. Means to what I want to say, it is not about the pavada. I'm telling you, silence can create so many things can happen with your silence. That's about the silence. We'll just practice. Madam, you are talking about how to do the silence. Let us practice ourselves for 10 seconds. Please sit in straight mode. Okay, your back should be straight. Your back should be straight. Hold your hands like this, possible. Just close your eyes. Close your eyes. You will get any thoughts. Find it, appreciate it. Try to concentrate in between your eyebrow. In between your eyebrow. Don't make sure that your back touches your chair. Be straight, concentrate. At least for 11 times, you just take deep breath inside, hold the breath for 5 seconds and exhale it for 5 seconds. It is 3 seconds. Hold the breath for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold the breath, concentrate on yourself, in between the eyebrow, whatever comes, it's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then exhale slowly and concentrate on that breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once again, inhale slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold the breath for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is called as bandha. Then exhale once again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Once again, inhalation. 1, 2, slowly increase your awakening. 3, 4, 5. Hold the breath, that is bandha. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale all your negative energy, negative thoughts by exhalation. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhalation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold the breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll do 3 more cycles. Inhalation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold the breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhalation. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold the breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale slowly. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Inhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold the breath. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Exhale all your toxins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. While this be silence for a minute. Please don't open your eyes. Concentrate on your the inhalation, exhalation on your breath. Appreciate yourself, your family, your friends, nature, surroundings. See the happiness in all the living and non-living things. Keep appreciating. Concentrate on your both eyebrows. Feel contented. Feel your physical, all the bodies, all the systems are very healthy. All the CVS, CNS, all the body structure, brain, blood system, everything is healthy. Your mental spirituality is very high. Your social spirituality is very high. Your scientific spirituality is very high. You are appreciating everybody. You are acknowledging everybody. Forgiving somebody has done a mistake or forgetting. Feeling ourselves very, very happy, contented. Then slowly rub your both hands. Slowly rub your both hands. Don't open the eyes. Rub the hands. Rub the hands. Then keep it on your in between your eyes. Your eyes. Make it warm. Make it warm. Slowly open your eyes. Slowly open your eyes. And just turn towards your opposite person. Just turn to your opposite. Give a big smile. Give a shake hand. Give a shake hand, please. Give a shake hand. Appreciate them. Acknowledge them. And say, I love you. Say, I love you. Acknowledging appreciation is very difficult. Please do that. See, this is the outcome of any. This is in the single word. With this, what is that? We just spoke about spirituality. One word I want to take from the finalist about the spirituality. Dr. Yatish, please.
Spirituality means peace.
The spirituality means
Peace.
Dr. Shishidhar.
Spirituality means present.
Present. Ma'am.
Happiness for me and others.
Happiness for me and others.
So whatever we have discussed today, the whole thing is meditation. If you do meditation, this whole, whatever we have done today, it is successful. That's all. Thank you.
Thus, we said in a single word about happiness, others' happiness, and being ourselves in the happy mode. That's about spirituality. And friends, today we discuss about the definition, what WHO says, what are the types of meditation, heartfulness, mindfulness, spirituality, and how types of profession, personal level, patient's level, and how to manage anger, suicide, and the concentration, as well as types of meditation, how to practice meditation. And we need to refer references. Without references, as I said already, Buddha says never accept without any science. So what are the science? We have got few references I got recently, but lot of things are there. There are sort of the references where we have taken the references, and with salutation to the great masters, we wind up and we look forward to you with all the good health and more. Thank you all today. Any questions, please? Waiting for questions. Our panelist wants at least 2-3 questions from everybody. Mic kodi sir ge.
ಧಾರ್ಮಿಕತೆಗೂ ಮತ್ತು ಆಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮಿಕತೆಗೂ ಏನು ವ್ಯತ್ಯಾಸ?
ಸರ್, ಈ ಕ್ವಶನ್ ನಾನೇ ತಗೊಂತೀನಿ ವಿತ್ ಯುವರ್ ಪರ್ಮಿಷನ್. ಧಾರ್ಮಿಕತೆಗೂ ಆಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮಿಕತೆಗೂ ಯಾವ ರೀತಿಯ ಸಂಬಂಧ ಇಲ್ಲ. ಧಾರ್ಮಿಕತೆನೇ ಬೇರೆ, ಆಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮಿಕತೆನೇ ಬೇರೆ. ನನ್ನ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ನಾವು ಇರೋದು ವಿಜ್ಞಾನ ಯುಗದಲ್ಲಿ. ಆಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮ ಯಾವುದೇ ರಿಲಿಜನ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಯಾವುದೇ ಇದ್ರೊಳಗೆ ಇರ್ಬೋದು. ಆ ಧಾರ್ಮಿಕತೆಗೂ ನನ್ನ ಪ್ರಕಾರ ಯಾವುದೇ ಸಂಬಂಧ ಇಲ್ಲ. ನೀವು ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು, ನೀವು ಹೇಳ್ಬೋದು.
Can I tell you one? Where the religion ends, spirituality starts.
ಒಂದು ಕ್ವಶನ್. ಒಬ್ರು ಕೇಳಿದ್ರು, ನಾನು ಸ್ಪಿರಿಚುವಾಲಿಟಿ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ಸೊ ನಾನು ಚಿಕ್ಕವನಿಂದ ತುಂಬಾ ಧಾರ್ಮಿಕತೆ ಒಂದು ಫ್ಯಾಮಿಲಿಯಲ್ಲಿ ಬೆಳೆದಿದ್ದೀನಿ. ಹೋಮ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ಹವನ ಮಾಡ್ತಾರೆ, ನಮ್ಮನೇಲಿ ಇಷ್ಟಲಿಂಗ ಪೂಜೆ ಮೂಲಕ ಸೈಲೆನ್ಸ್ ನ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತೀನಿ. ನನಗೆ ಆಗ್ಬೇಕು ಆಧ್ಯಾತ್ಮಿಕತೆ ಅಂತ. ಅವ್ರಿಗೇನು ಉತ್ತರ ಹೇಳ್ತೀನಿ?
ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರು ಕ್ವಶನ್ಸ್ ಕೇಳ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಅದ್ರೊಳಗೆ ಡ್ಯುಯಾಲಿಟಿ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ ಅಂತಾನೆ ಅರ್ಥ. ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರಿಗೆ ಆನ್ಸರ್ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗಿದೆ, ನಿಮ್ಮ ಹತ್ರ ಕ್ಲಾರಿಫೈ ಮಾಡ್ಕೊಳ್ತಾ ಇದಾರಂತೆ. ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಅವ್ರ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಅವರವ್ರ ಸಂಪ್ರದಾಯಗಳು, ಧಾರ್ಮಿಕತೆಗಳು ಬೇರೆ ಇರ್ಬೋದು. ಬಟ್ ಎಲ್ಲೊಂದ್ ಕಡೆ ಸೊಲ್ಯೂಷನ್ಸ್ ಮಾತಾಡುವಾಗ ಇಲ್ಲೊಂದು ಎಕ್ಸಾಂಪಲ್ ಕೊಡ್ಬೋದು. ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಶಶಿಧರ್ ನಾನು ಹೇಳೋದು ನಿಮ್ಮ ಕೋಟ್ ಮಾಡ್ಬೋದು. ಡಾಕ್ಟರ್ ಶಶಿಧರ್ ಅಂದ್ರೆ ತುಂಬಾ ಜಗತ್ ಪ್ರಸಿದ್ಧ ಗುರುಗಳವರು, ಅವ್ರದೇ ಆದ ಒಂದು ಆಶ್ರಮ ಕೂಡ ಇದೆ. ಬಟ್ ಶಶಿಧರ್ಗೆ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಬಂದಿದ್ದೆ ಒಂದು ಥಾಟ್ಸ್ ಇದ್ರೊಳಗೆ ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಇರೋದು ಮಾತ್ರ ಒಪ್ಕೋಬೇಕು, ಇದ್ರೊಳಗೆ ನಾನು ಇರೋದು ಒಪ್ಕೋಬಾರ್ದು ಅಂತಿದ್ದು ಅವ್ರು ನಾನು ಸುಮಾರು ಸತಿ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಅದನ್ನ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೆ, ಆಶ್ರಮದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರಾಕ್ಟೀಸ್ ಮಾಡ್ತಿದ್ದೆ, ನಾನು ಒಪ್ಕೋತಿರ್ಲಿಲ್ಲ. ಅದರಿಂದ ಮೋಸ್ಟ್ಲಿ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ಇಗ್ನೈಟ್ ಆಯ್ತು ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ ಅದೆಲ್ಲ ನೋಡಿ ಆಚರಣೆಗಳು. ಅದ್ರೊಳಗಿರೋ ಒಳ್ಳೆ ತಗೊಂಡು ಅವ್ರು ಸೈನ್ಸ್ ಕಡೆ ಹೋದ್ರು ಅನ್ಸುತ್ತೆ ನನ್ನ ಪ್ರಕಾರ. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಪ್ಲೀಸ್.
Thank you, dear. See, actually, we need in science. Present is very much scientific. You are there, I am there. Inside of us, what is there, it is there. But we need to understand what is this whole existence. See, the whole existence, the center is silence, but periphery is the whole universe exists. In this universe, actually, the earth itself is a very small speck. And in that, our religion, we did that, we did this, there's no meaning exist. Scientifically speaking, not even one subatomic particle we are able to understand. One electron, how it is generated, we don't know. So when you know that spirituality, it is a very vast one, where everything ends and lives in one. So with that background, these small things will drop off. Every